Yo, what's up, guys? What is up? Wizard of Oz, Fizz, CFAT, Snibble, Austin, Pecan, Cass, Jam, Aldo, what is up, man? How we doing? Gotta put this over here. Yo, Wesley, what's up, man? What's up? Professor, what's up, man? How you doing? All right, we're gonna do it today. We're gonna do some analysis. I'm on the daily chart here using the spots indicator, using the copycat indicator here. We got a nice little setup going on here. I talked about this setup. I know, I go over this basically the same thing every day, right? Just updating the charts as they happen. But right now, we're trading sideways just like we were expecting, just sort of making this projector, hovering projector in the markets right now. This right here is going on everywhere. We saw the market after bad earnings got back up, and then right now we are trailing back down again. So yeah, very interesting market right now. It's looking pretty crazy. We are coming very close to the spots indicator. We've seen back here as soon as we cross it. We typically get a nice little rally here, and what it seems like to me is that there's going to be a little bit of consolidation here once we get closer to it, and we might end up doing something like this before earnings. Okay, so earnings is going to be very important here on AMC. I'm going to talk about a couple of different patterns that I'm tracking right now based on this correlation that I talked about yesterday, which is Ethereum Classic. So the thing about Ethereum Classic right now, cycle tracker over here. All right, so here's Ethereum Classic. You guys can see we are on this rally right now, and we're just trading right above it. We're almost creating this flag. Actually, it is a flag. Now, the thing about this setup here, a couple of things can happen. Okay, so after a rally, without rejecting this zone, normally what crypto does, it takes forever, man. Crypto will take its time, okay, because it does have the it's not limited to stock market trading hours, which is obviously a pretty bad thing for crypto. I mean, you got to be extra patient, man, with crypto. Crypto will, once you get the rally, dude, and this thing, it will just take its time. It's a sweet little time to continue this rally. To me, I'm still pretty bullish on Ethereum Classic. Now, crypto as a whole, I still believe that we're going to have one more gap down just in the overall crypto market. And I went over this on the live stream yesterday. But I think this has a lot to do with the current setup that we have right now in the market. So you can see here, let's go ahead and talk about this real quick, update the charts. So this was the little correlation thing I set up yesterday on the video. It's very briefly. Basically what we're doing right now is we're tracking about 9 days, I would say, on the correlation here for the bigger runs. Say this run here on Ethereum Classic turns into a larger run and we start, we're up 4% for the day. If we start climbing up to the 20% range very quickly, that would have been, so right now from the low here, we're up almost 20% from the low, right? From this low. We can go all the way down here, but see, this is more spread out. We want to focus a little bit here on time. Time is important. And here I can see that we are up just from this low here, about 17% on the high. Continuation back up, so this is already points for AMC. A continuation back up to the 30% range would be the $29 level, which is considered just resistance, macro resistance right here. Very doable. And I think we're going to get up here soon. Now, maybe going into the end of the week, going into the weekend as well. Now, the thing about this setup here that I want to sort of go over here, Let's see real quick. Let's see. Okay, so let's bring over Bitcoin because I think this is going to be important to track here. Bitcoin. So you can see we're having a rally, and there's a pattern I've been tracking here a lot actually on Bitcoin. So there's a couple. I'll talk about one of these here in a little bit. There's a lot of patterns, guys. Patterns are all over the place. Some people don't like patterns, and you know what? That's fine. But patterns are, it's you got a little cheat code, man, with patterns these days because they do replicate, on multiple stocks and multiple cryptos. They do replicate. I mean, there's proof. So here's what's going to happen, I think, with crypto. So crypto right now is a very similar stage on what AMC did prior to the August 2021. On the 24th, it had a rally here. So I'm going to pull up this fractal so you guys can see. Stop that one. Oh, not that one either. Here it is. So you can see right here where crypto's at. Look how accurately this pattern is tracking. So we got August 24th. And not only that, guys, we're looking at macro points of interest here. Watch, this would be considered what is the June rally, short back down. You have this point of interest here. Starts coming down, hits the bottom here on the spring. And look at how accurately everything is tracking here. This is September 30th, point of interest, goes up. You have a mid phase here, and then what are we having right now again? We're having a rally. So, I mean, you can't deny that this pattern here is tracking pretty similarly to what we are currently tracking around, which is AMC, right? AMC works very well with the entire market, and I use it a lot for tracking patterns, for tracking points of interest, narrowing down the possibilities here. Normally, whenever you see a short, there will be a dead cat, sort of a setup on crypto. Okay, we see it right here. Yeah, we see it right here, right? Goes up and then gets shorted back down. So these are just liquidity pump and dumps to clear out a certain pool. So if you're trying to get rid of shorts and longs, you'll have this like zigzag pattern that happens. You'll start at a very neutral spot and then you shake both off. You do this. And this goes both ways. It can happen like this or it can happen like this. And this right here is the perfect way to shake off both longs and puts on the retail side, because that's what the institutions are trying to do in the end. They're trying to collect all of these margin calls basically that are happening here. And yeah, man, when people are over leveraged on positions, and you can do this with crypto if you're over leveraged, right? You can play the leverage game, and that's exactly what they do. They shake you off very quickly. So I think we're there right now in the market, just in the overall market. Now the difference here is, well, Bitcoin is in a very different spot, and I'll talk about why this is relevant to AMC. But for this, I have to bring up the SPY. The SPY is in a very similar setup. Here's the curve line that we're tracking, I believe, on the 4-hour chart in the spots indicator. Let's see. Yep, here it is. So the spots indicator here is on a sort of wedge setup, and what can happen here is, well, two things. I've been saying this a lot, but I've been tracking the 330 range for a while as a possible low, but that doesn't mean that, we're gonna go down there. There's still a possibility that we just create a wedge here, so macro wedge, and start climbing back up again, right? That's also very possible. But right now, the projection here, at least on the spots indicator, is that we are being shorted back down. And there's a point of interest I have here later in the day. Not quite yet right now. I'm still waiting for that here. But you can see the market is being shorted back down. And we might come back to test this level of support, right? Because once you cross these levels of resistance and support, they become zones that we can bounce off of. Okay, so here's the projection that I have for the shorter term setup here. You can see right here, clearly there is a level of resistance. We are coming back down from that right now. So to me, it seems like we're gonna come all the way down here to 377, possibly going into tomorrow, and then we're gonna start climbing back up. This is gonna be a shorter term play here on the market, but that's what it seems like to me. I think we're gonna do something like this. We'll take this little projection out. You can see here on the 30-minute, we are clearly respecting the this level right here of support. And actually, look at this, dude. Look how accurate this is. You get your little cross, massive rally until you get the cross back down. I guarantee you right here, dude, as soon as we get this pink spot here on the 30-minute chart, this is going to take that breather back down to that 377. Okay, and if we do that, this is why there's a point of interest here. But if we do that here, we might have an end-of-day rally before that happens. Let's say we open or gap up or gap down here going into tomorrow, fake out again, bull trap, and then starts coming back up again for Friday. I think that's probably what we're going to expect here soon. Let's see. Let's see. Bouncy. I'm definitely going to be looking for this, man. It's looking like it wants to keep going down. All right, so what does this do to AMI? Because, you know, for AMC here, we have a couple of things to sort of track, right? We already talked about Ethereum Classic. Now we got the market pulling us down as well. And I did say this, guys, on Twitter earlier today. I said, and I do believe this as well, that we cannot have major runs. There's too much correlation with when we have major rallies on AMC. And, you know, here's the little, I don't know what that was. Here's a way to sort of look at things. Except this one here does not have the rest, so maybe that's not the best one. Cycle POIs. Here we go. All of these runs that we have had here on the cycle, all right, they do happen on the green section here, and they're really accurate. I mean, this is it's a very specific zone. Max is going to be about 10 days of a zone here between the green and going into the blue section. All of these are zones in which AMC rallies in. And these are the biggest rallies we have had on the entire AMC chart ever since November of 2020. Okay, so this is not, there's a correlation here. And that's what we focus on here in this channel. It's a cycle channel, focuses on market cycles, AMC specifically, right? Now, the entire market does this. This is a correlation, man. Until things stop tracking here, this cycle is not going to fail. So, people are going to keep saying, like, and this is the misconception, I think, in the community. They're like, oh, yo, the cycle didn't play out, or like the POI is not playing out. That is because it doesn't have to play out here. It can play out inverse. We've shown this cycle right here playing out inverse on the small scale, right? And the whole thing to track here is narrowing down the possibilities, because if you know that there's a correlation here of upside on the beginning of these channels, then you're going to be tracking the next one and the next one and the next one. Anything in between becomes what is noise. And, on that tweet I posted, I also said that doesn't mean that we can't have smaller rallies at all. In fact, on most of these smaller POIs that we get here, these inverse POIs, you see here in red, there are multiple points of interest in between, right? On all these, we had, back here, we had the August 24th. Here we had right here on the blue pattern going into November, which is a very similar cycle that we're actually playing out right now. Back here we had December 17th. Okay, back here we had May 12th. I mean, there's so many, dude, where there's smaller points of interest that we can find in between. So doesn't make it an absolute like waiting game where we just there's nothing going on, right? There's something has to happen. So that's exactly what we're tracking here. We're in the blue pattern. I'm expecting a bigger push here tomorrow. Now, bigger push, whatever that means, is downside or upside, guys. It's really as simple as that. And you can say whatever you want about that too, man. But the whole point of spotting these points of interest is to get a volatility zone here, which is a way, again, to narrow down the different scenarios that you have on different outlook that you have here on AMC. You know, for those of you coming in, I always pull this pattern up here, but I can show you this pattern right here playing out completely inverse on AMC. It's the run-up. It's right there. I just pull it up for everybody that's coming in here. You can clearly see that it's an inverse pattern. It's just you can't see it because it's on such a micro scale. I mean, comparing a pattern down here to something up here must be stretched up. You have to stretch the height or else you can't see what is going on in there. It's very important that you do that. Okay. All right. SPY is actually crossing down now. We're going to get that cross here very soon on the 30-minute chart. If you want this indicator, click the link below on tradingwithemotions.com. Go to the indicator list and follow some of those steps. You do need a Discord account, so check that out, man. Okay. What else was I going to pull up here? Let's see. Also, I've been getting a lot of different. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Figure this is probably a good way to do this, but let's see if I can do this. It's called Spot Syndicator, man. Here, I'll post a link. Again, you do need a Discord. Good old Discord membership for that, man. You know, I have a lot of different indicators, guys, that I'm working on. So right now there's 2, and there's a third one coming out soon. It's called PFV. It's a volume indicator. And all of these are cycle indicators, okay? So they all are using cycle parameters specifically that I use for AMC, and they work on the entire market. So that is, again, one of the approaches I take here specifically in the way I look at things. A couple of ones I was tracking, I'll give you guys an example of this here. Let's see if I could just pull it up. Okay, yeah, I'll be able to pull this up here. I just gotta set it up here. Not that. Here we go. So, again, this down here is the website. My hair's freaking white. What the hell? Okay. All right. Website here. This is what you do, man. Like, on the weekly POIs, it'll show you all the POIs for the week. All right. We had all these. We had Bed Bath & Beyond. Again, I use these for the spot syndicator and everything else. This is probably the most accurate one this week. So these are posted on Sunday. Every Sunday, you can see back here, Friday was the last day. Hit replay on that. And here you go. You got the bottom. So 440 was the bottom I was projecting, and the peak. Look at how close this thing tracked the peak. Like it was like 2 cents off. Look at that. These contracts went up 2,000%. 2,000%, dude. That's crazy. That is crazy. But this is part of the thing, guys. The POIs here for not only Bed Bath & Beyond, we also had Mullen was another one. And look at this one, crossing on the blue spot indicator here, which this alert was sent way back here in in September, and these contracts went up 200%. You can see here, you press the play button. 75% here, or 75 cents is the level of resistance. Here you can see on the blue spot indicator, and this still probably has a little bit more upside here in the next couple of days. And then obviously we have a couple of other ones I won't get too much into here, but that is the sort of thing here with those layouts. And the indicators, again, if you click on the website, they're going to be shown on there, but it is part of the package, man. The package you get with that. It's all this stuff, man. It's the work aside, really, from updating some of these different things that I have in the market. But that's the job, man. It's just constantly being taking a different approach in the market using cycle analysis. I don't think it's something that it's not just your traditional TA. It's definitely a different approach, but I think it's trying to really understand the system here, break the system of what these guys are, how these guys are manipulating the market. It's like understanding that is very important here for AMC. All right, so we use that with everything here: market, SPY, all of it. It's apart from the patterns, right? Just the patterns. So I had those POIs play out. There are some coming up for next week as well that I'm tracking right now that are pretty nice here, because it is the end of the month, and the end of the month is, well, not only for AMC here, but I'm expecting it for a lot of other stocks. Now you can see here on AMI, this right here is a hovering projector. So two things I'm going to talk about here, and I want to be very clear that this is not me projecting anything, or this is not me like telling you guys that something is going to play out. This is just me comparing another stock, okay, and showing you another stock. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pattern here. We're going to leave it. We're going to open up another thing here. We're going to go to Tilray. Why am I pulling up Tilray? Tilray is also part of this meme sector here. Let's call it a meme sector. I just want to show you something, because prior to earnings, why these two do track each other. Okay, they are on similar cycles, very similar cycles. Something to consider here with these two is the structure of these patterns. So we know Tilray was in a hovering projector as well. A very tiny one, but you can see here, okay, 1, 2, consolidation, boom, right? It's the same thing we have going on right now with AMC, right? 1, 2, consolidation, maybe boom, right? Maybe boom. Doesn't have to be the case here, but you can see how accurate both of these are. I'm not even just like, look at what's going on before, guys. Look at both of these patterns right here. Watch. Again, this is Tilray down here. Tilray, and this is AMC. Okay? Tell me that doesn't look like crazy here. Now, can this happen here tomorrow or go on the blue pattern? I mean, it's a point of interest. It can also happen entering the red portion of the cycle, which also is a point of interest. This is why I keep saying this. The cycle, okay, whenever you don't have macro POIs, the volume still has to be distributed in some way. And that's why you get around 2 or 3 in cycles that are this, like, so dry. This cycle here is clearly a dry cycle. I mean, we're being shorted back down here. There's not much going on. This volume has to be spit out in some way at some point. And, Tilray already did it, clearly. Tilray is one stock that already did it, and you can see how similar these both look. They're not even lined up at the same time. This right here that happened on Tilray happens here. Let's take this entire pattern, actually. Copy it and paste it back here. I want to see how accurate this is. I mean, look at that, bro. Again, structure of a pattern and the levels are important. They're very important, right? But I mean, honestly, this is the thing, man. Like, you can be somebody that looks at patterns and likes patterns, or you could be somebody who just draws lines and does your thing that way too. I mean, there's not a right or wrong answer. It's just what works best for you. The thing about fractals and patterns, and bro, you guys are probably annoyed with me saying this all the time, but dude, they do give you natural levels of like ratio levels. They do. I can find so many patterns and show them to you that fit almost perfectly. And they keep tracking. They keep tracking. I mean, that's the thing about fractal analysis, guys. It's just tracking patterns here that have potential to play out. I mean, why not use a little cheat code here on some of these things? Now, again, I want to be very clear that this is not saying that we're going to do this, but it is a possibility. It is a possibility. And what would this be, right? Something like this, I wouldn't pay too much attention to the height here of anything. It's just a point of interest on this fractal. But something that could happen here if it's a short-term point of interest is, well, we get some volume coming in, and then we trade sideways, right? We might not come down as hard as Tilray did, but we can trade sideways here for a little bit and then set up for the next run, right? We already talked about the macro setup here, and I'm telling you that it's very unlikely we're going to get a major run here, like a major run. I'm talking like June, right? I think that's unlikely. I don't think we're going to get that right here. However, I do think that a small run is doable and it's possible, and climbing our way up is also something that I'm tracking. So if we climb our way up, we get up here to a certain range, and we start tracking right up here for a little bit. And I still have, let me see if I still have that set up here, the megaphone. Here's the megaphone right here for you guys. Okay. Look at this. Now, what is this calling for? Because if we're in this megaphone, in this giant megaphone, two things. The thing about this setup is that we are currently tracking, and this fractal that you're looking at right here is this part of the cycle. Okay, so this entire section here is this massive fractal right here. And why this is very relevant is because, well, these levels are being hit almost exactly where they should be, right? If we take this entire section here, you can see that resistance is hit. So right here, we got resistance. Right here, we got the level of resistance. And it's an average, right? This is all an average. I'm taking the biggest height here. If I pull it back down, where it should be, where we normally take this trend line here, is going to be right around there. And you can see that is where resistance is being hit. But for this projection on the top, we definitely have to take the height of it, because that is where we would get that last wick before we come down. So here we got resistance, and here we got resistance, right? Then you have this stage here. There's a bit of a gap. We have a little bit of a gap. We cross it, we bounce back down, and then we create the projector. We cross it, we bounce back down, and then we create the projector, right? This, to me, is very doable because it's slowly climbing up. Here is where you would experience these short-term points of interest I'm talking about, where you go back up, you come back down. You go back up, you come back down. And then you get to a point where where this lines up with the macro points of interest that I talk about, right? Right here. Look at this. This section right here on a fractal level matches with the green and the blue portion. All right? That's not a coincidence. So does this one back here. We talk about that as soon as we get close to the initial start here of the cycle. That is where the algorithm kicks off, and this right here is sped up extremely quickly. So this is why I had said at the next point of interest, these are all going to be we can go all the way over here, guys, and track all of these right here. But I can almost guarantee you that nothing is guaranteed, but with 99% certainty, maybe that's a little bit too much, but like I would say a good 90% chance that we do go up on any of these zones in the green or going to the blue portion right here. That is your key, man. Clone these, and I believe that these are the only spots where we will get any kind of volatility in the market and on AMC. There's no way that we could see upside like a heavy push, and I'm talking over 200%, over 300% of a push anywhere else in the cycle, because things have to line up with option expiration dates. And I've already shown you guys all of the points of interest here in the cycle, and they all happen right here on this 10-day. It's literally fucking 10 days, bro. Every 62 months, every 62 days. It's 10 days out of that massive cycle here where this can actually happen. And that's pretty narrow if you think about it. It's 1/6 of a chance that you play it out anywhere else in the cycle, and all of these have been proven to happen right at that zone. So, if that is something that continues, and there is correlation to that, which, again, I think it will, then this is when we can expect that to happen here next. So that's really it, man. It's tracking that, and until things break, then I think we're going to be experiencing this. And I'm going to keep saying this. This does not mean at all that we can't have smaller rallies in between. Smaller rallies in between are going to happen, and they're going to be big. Think about it this way. I said about a 300% run would be considered, to me at least, a bigger push-up, maybe 150. I'd say the range is really from 100 to 300, possibly even higher if we have a squeeze. That would be considered more of a macro point of interest. So focusing on this, and this. There's been 5. Everything else has been they have been smaller runs. So 30 to 50%. Those have been smaller points of interest. Those are what I expect to happen here in the short term. And I think with that, we set up, man, to go up here next. It's guys, it's baby steps, okay? Baby steps, we climb back up. Being as blunt and as realistic as possible. And I said this before too, man, with all of these setups here, the other day I was on stream with Rico, we were talking about the ape setup, and something like that. One of the things I made sure to cover and talk about, and why it's important to pay close attention to the things we bring up, is because for these things to check off, as good as they look, they have to happen. Like if your plan is set here and you have a certain time frame here that you're tracking things, they must happen around that time frame. As soon as you bleed out and you start tracking something else, it's important to stop tracking this. There's no reason to track that anymore. And I'm, just like we had the inverse point of interest here on AMC, this one. Same thing with this current setup. Not that it's invalid just yet, because there is a little bit of time. We are in the blue pattern still. It's not invalid yet, but as soon as we cross over and we start heading right back here, that becomes a little bit more invalid, that a bigger play like that can happen, right? And that's something that you just got to go through with and accept. The whole point here, guys, is to provide analysis and predictions, because that's what the market is. If you're not making predictions, why are you in the market? Are you predicting if the stock is going to go up or down? That's the whole point of analysis, man, is about predicting what could possibly happen here, using any approach. Here specifically using the cycle approach. So yeah, dude, definitely looking good here on the macro level, and I think this is probably the most realistic approach, conservative approach. And not only do we have, man, we have a lot of different indicators projecting that too, where it looks pretty good to me, man. We got copycat here projecting just that, lining up with the cycle, because it is a cycle indicator. Cycle. Oh no. One thing I've noticed, guys, is like, ooh, the 8-hour looks really good. One thing I have noticed with TradingView is, and Trevor brought this up to me, so props to you, man. But so if you're trying to go, you have an analysis that you don't really work on the daily chart since it's like super like zoomed out. You got to make your way up. So you start off from like the 4-hour, and then you go all the way up, make your way up little by little when the indicator is up. So if I pull it up here, it should work now. Yeah, he brought this up to me, and I was like, dude, that is clutch. Okay, so we got this, and then we go 12 hours, and then we go to the daily, and I think, yep, there it is. Now it's not going to mess with it. So here we got the copy pat indicator, again, telling us, because it uses cycle parameters, telling us where the cycle is, okay, and that we should expect some upside there. This looks super clean to me because we have what is this triple bottom setup here, okay? And, you know, coming back all the way over here, same thing. We had a triple bottom setup right after we crossed resistance, followed by a projector, followed by a run, okay? So I think we're going to that projector, man. This is triple bottom, projector, boom. I think that is super doable. I also think, based on this is why it sucks, okay? Because for so long, guys, for so long, we have been stuck in this fucking channel right here. Look at this. Look at this. It's just a parallel channel that we've been in. We entered this channel right here on November on the inverse cycle. This right here, this analysis is probably like superior when you look at AMC plus ape, because what AMC plus ape does, let's do that. 6 hour. Here's AMC plus ape. You take the same analysis here, the same levels analysis. There it is. And then watch this. The reason I use AMC plus ape is because you cannot get the same levels of support and resistance when looking at the macro parallel channel. And this macro parallel channel that I talk about is this one back here. This one you will not be able to get on AMC's chart because it's scaled incorrectly in that you can't hit these levels that I talk about here nicely. So here, let's see, is it this one? Let's pull up the one that I have. All right, I'm making my life harder here. There it is. Okay, and then this is following the cycle here. Now watch this. What happened as soon as we hit this cycle, this inverse cycle? Two things happen here, dude. Inverse cycle in November. All markets start tracking almost identical. This is T plus 1 right here, guys. T plus 0, T plus 0, because we're tracking the same. And then we get to T plus 3, T plus 6, T plus 9, E plus 9, Ethereum Classic. Okay, so we go back into the channel. This is the parallel zone right here. Every year we come back into the zone. And two things happened here. So we came back into the channel, into the parallel channel, and we also created what was this new channel here, new parallel channel. Okay? This one that we have just been bouncing off of, like this. Now, with this setup, two things. We're currently outside of the zone, just like we were back here before we came back in. When we came back in, this push here crossed the support zone and support, parallel, and volatility zone. All three at the same time. Watch this now. We're on the 6 hour. Keep this in mind. But we're going to go, since we can't apply the spots indicator here and the copy pat indicator, Actually, let me try it. Let me just try it. Maybe we can. Add indicator, strategy, copy pat. Oh, we can. Awesome. Daily chart. Okay, some you can't. It sucks. There it is. Watch this shit. This is crazy. Do 50. Look at this, bro. Staying outside the zone, and this thing, like a full push through on this level right here, which is this triple bottom, and then it comes back in just like it did back here. Now remember, this is a moving average, so it's not telling you where it's going to stop. It's just telling you, because a giant wick here on the volatility zone in green is a complete rejection typically on the way down. So if something like this were to happen on the next POI in December, say this thing shoots up here, it will probably cross through all of these zones before it comes back down. And this would create a massive triple bottom setup, which then would continue to go back up in February. And that's part of the conservative approach here on AMC. It's looking at both of these zones. I think it's very important that we track these, because I really just don't see how, like, just the way things are lining up with this setup here, I don't see how they would play out any other way. So we're tracking it earlier on, guys. I mean, the same thing happened, and you know, just to sort of give you guys that little perspective, it is a bullish case, but it is a more conservative one, since a lot of people think we're going to start climbing back up here in the shorter term. Yo, what the hell? Do we have a problem here with the stream? No, we should be good. All right. So, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so coming up to this range, yeah, since a lot of different people might think that we could potentially go up here, which again is possible, but to me, based on this parallel zone and the support and resistance zone, it seems more likely that we would remain down here, have a couple of volatility zones, shorter term ones, and then start to rally on the December POI to climb up and get ready for the next push up, which would be a giant megaphone effect. Okay, and I've said this prior to every single run. Okay, the March run, I had said as soon as we crossed, back here, actually before we even hit this level here, I said that if this projector didn't play out, that we would have to wait until early July, late August, and that came to fruition as well. I mean, right? Because like the zones here that we kept tracking, I mean, the cycle here was not okay. Again, going back to the Trevor way here, which is bring the cycle here and slowly make your way up. It doesn't mess it up. Back here I had said we're on the POI. It happened already. If we cross back down and we don't have a projector, so right at the peak, it's likely that we're going to trade sideways and not go up again until late July, early August. And what happened, right? Late July, early August, we went up. Same thing here, guys. Same exact setup. This one, I said, all right, you know what? Next POI is going to be in October. All right, so we're going to be tracking things. And I was a little bit more conservative here. I said, you know what? We're gonna let things play out and see if we could potentially set up for a move back up here. But as soon as we started to cross levels of resistance, I became a little bit more skeptical that things were actually going to happen that way. And then told you guys that, well, here, it's likely we're going to have an inverse POI. And, now that we're just trading sideways here, I'm telling you that these are the setups, dude. I can go all the way. We can go to 2025 if you want to with this entire chart here. These are not going to change. As long as, AMC continues to do its thing, until the cycle is broken, which to me, a cycle will break once the algorithm can't suppress the volume anymore and we get the squeeze, right? But as of now, these are going to be trackable and traceable until that happens. And until we get a major rally somewhere else in the cycle, I don't think the algorithm will break. So we're going to continue tracking it, man, like that. And I don't think that's going to change. We're just going to continue tracking it. It is what it is, man. It's a gift from the cycle gods. All right? It's a gift from the cycle gods. All right, we just got a spots indicator cross on the 30-minute chart here on the SPY. See, on the 15-minute, it's a clear cross. 15-second. I always track here a lot too. Interesting. Cool. All right. I do have an POI tracking here for the market. I will be posting a little bit later, and that's for the good old Discord. If you guys want to join that, make sure you click the link below and join up with the squad. We got that stuff coming up. Also, if you guys are interested, I know I've been getting a lot of messages on this, like, oh, Patreon charges on the 1st every time. No, they don't anymore. They changed it, and I changed it as soon as I could because I knew that was a problem. Some people were getting double charged if they do sign up towards the end of the month, but that is not a thing anymore. So if you guys still want to become a member there and chill with us, get some option market perspectives here on some of the points of interest, you can join, and it'll charge you whenever you sign up, man. Again, yeah, if you want to support the channel and do that, make sure you click the link below. Other than that, guys, I will be getting back to that here and doing some alerts. So I will see you guys here tomorrow on stream. Again, I'm trying to update every day, everything that I do here, and trying to be a little bit more consistent with it. So I'm doing pretty good, man. It's like the 6th day in a row that I post a video for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. AMC is looking good. Awesome.